When war veteran Larry Robeson reached the register at the grocery store, he placed 2 items on the conveyor belt, some dish liquid and a small snack. That was all he could afford. But just moments later, everything would change, and Robeson would be returning with far more on his hands. But for Robeson and his sister, Stephanie Sieverding, the day had likely started out like any other. The pair were shopping at the Albertsons on Charleston Boulevard and Maryland Parkway in Las Vegas. Both had also previously served in the armed forces, and Sieverding was now in a wheelchair. What's more, Sieverding was down to her last $50 on that day, and she'd been feeding herself sparingly already. Indeed, on several occasions in the past, she had only a few dollars with which to buy food, and this time she had barely enough money for both her dogs and herself to eat. As for Robeson, well, he's a member of the Sacred Bones Society Motorcycle Club, and he proudly wears the club's logo on the back of his sleeveless denim shirt. Sieverding's husband is also a member of the club. His work as a truck driver meant he was often away, however. Robeson therefore took time out to help Sieverding, driving her everywhere she needed to go. "To me, no vet should be going through what my sister's going through," Robeson would go on to say on Fox News in 2017. He added, "We didn't want to be there, fighting abroad, but we had to go because our country needed us to go." But Robeson's contribution to society didn't end with his service in Vietnam, nor with looking after Sieverding. You see, with the Sacred Bones Motorcycle Club, he'd started a charitable organization called Bones for Blankets some 16 years before. And as its name suggests, the organization donates blankets to homeless veterans. In fact, Robeson had bought bedding with his own money before distributing it to people in need. His inspiration had been a sad one, though. He'd lost 3 brothers who had frozen to death. However, on this occasion, Robeson was simply helping his sister with her shopping. Sieverding had apparently moved to Las Vegas just a week before, and she'd heard that it was a friendly place to live. What would happen just moments later, though, would no doubt give her reason to reflect on that. Sieverding had just reached the front of the line at the Albertsons when Dave Hall of Fox 5 Surprise Squad arrived with his camera crew in tow. He had a stunning offer for Sieverding. "Can we pay for your groceries?" Hall asked Sieverding. Hall then pulled out a card and took care of her grocery bill. The Fox 5 Surprise Squad, led by presenter Dave Hall, have been helping people in the Las Vegas area since December 2013, with the aim of making the day a little brighter for members of the public. In the past, Surprise Squad missions have included arranging a school trip, furnishing a veteran's home, and helping people pay for gas. On this particular day, though, the Surprise Squad would help people with their shopping. And after coming to Sieverding's aid, Hall turned to her companion, Robeson. What's more, when Hall extended an offer of help to Robeson, the veteran had to wipe tears from his eyes. "You served us, it's our turn to serve you now," Hall told him. Then Hall led Robeson away from the checkout, where his 2 items remained, and back into the grocery store. "We try to do good things for good people," Hall said. "You deserve this." Robeson, however, seemed shocked. "If there's anything I could do to repay this, he began. "You've done it," Hall cut in. And as Robeson's now fully loaded trolley returned to the register, he looked emotional. "It's overwhelming right now for me," he said. "I've been taking care of myself since I was 13. When it was revealed that the bill on his shopping would come to $278.55, though, Robeson's eyes sprung open in shock. "Oh my gosh," he whispered under his breath. He'd never had a grocery bill that high before, he admitted. Then, brushing away tears, he mumbled an emotional thank you as he leaned gratefully into Hall's outstretched arm. Footage of the encounter was then uploaded to Fox 5 Las Vegas YouTube channel, and many viewers noted how touched they'd been by it. "Whoever's funding that, may you live to be 150, and it would still be too short," wrote one commenter. Another user wrote, "Larry, thank you, sir, for your service to this country and to your continued service to our veterans. You're an amazing person." Many were upset, however, that Robeson was in such a bad situation in the first place. "Dang it," wrote Monty Leverett, "to see people who served our country struggling like that and their disbelief that someone wants to help, it just hurts to think they've lost hope." Lindsay E., meanwhile, reflected on the sad state that many veterans find themselves in, writing, "So heartwarming, yet so sad. There are so many more vets trying to make ends meet. I just want to help them all." The truth is that the number of struggling veterans in the U.S. is on the rise. In 2017, the number of former service people living in the streets saw an increase, something that hadn't happened since 2010. Specifically, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development estimated that there were some 40,000 veterans on the streets in 2017, a figure that was up by 600 on the previous year. However, it's not just one-time members of the military who are struggling to make ends meet, since almost 14% of people in Nevada fall below the poverty line. Meanwhile, median household income in the state sits approximately $2,500 lower than the average for the country as a whole, according to 2016 figures from the U.S. Census Bureau. This just underlines how much the surprise squad's help was needed and appreciated that day. But the Fox 5 team didn't just help Robeson and Sieverding at Albertsons. Among the other individuals they assisted was one of the supermarket's most loyal customers, Dorothy Richards, who said that she'd been visiting the store since 1964. It was the store manager, Anthony Ramirez, who directed Hall's attention to Richards. "She buys what she can," Ramirez says. "She's someone who could definitely use a helping hand today?" Hall asked. "Definitely," Ramirez replied. And when Hall offered to pay for Richards' groceries, she replied, "Oh, that would be lovely." Then, while looking at her shopping, Hall noted that Richards was buying a large quantity of cat food. "The cats give me a reason to get up in the morning," she explained. And several of the store's employees later became emotional as they described seeing Richards being given a helping hand. "She's one of our regular customers we have. It's nice that you guys have done this for her," said one of the staff members, touched by the scene. Perhaps no story told that day, however, would be quite as moving as the one that Robeson and Sieverding had recounted.